I learned to accept. For me, accepting does not mean that I'm settling for less than what I deserve, because that was what I thought back then. But it means that.
But it means that
I know that it has to happen in order for me to grow up. It's like a life process that I have to encounter, whether I would like it or not. Secondly,
this has helped me to come to terms. This has helped me to come to terms with the disappointing SPM results I had.
With the disappointing SPM result I have. Second
like this. Sure.
Secondly, I learned to not be so hard on myself, because when something decide to not work out, you have this tendency to blame yourself afterwards. You also have the tendency to force yourself to accept it right at that moment, to suck it up and be alright just immediately. And this is not right, because I think that the most essential part of me, part of me being okay with it, because I give my time, I allow myself the time to accept the things on my own pace. I don't force things. Thirdly,
I didn't understand that.
I mean, how do I say this?
What do you mean by that?
I allow myself the time. I allowed myself the time to accept these things on my own pace. I don't be so hard on myself. I didn't push myself to be okay with it right at the moment when it happened.
For example, when my SPM results.
For example, when my SPM result
was announced, I allowed myself.
For example, when my SPM result came out, I allowed myself to be not to be okay with it, but to.
You said you had time. You allowed myself time.
I allow myself the time. I give myself the time to be okay with it. To accept it. I didn't force myself right at that moment to, suck it up and just be alright with it. How do I say this?
I know this was your explanation. That's what you said. Give yourself time to.
I give myself the time to learn the lessons on my own pace.
It took me.
And it took me.
I don't know how long. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 1 month, 2 months to accept the results.
Okay, which brings me to the third point.
No. The first one wasn't clearly explained. Sorry.
The second one.
The second one. So you need to give an example of how long it took you, or how long you have taken to accept that result. That's what the second point was all about. Unless I heard you wrongly.
I think along the time, I just along the way, I just come to the term of self-pity with myself. I decided that this has to happen for me to venture into another phase of life. I don't have any specific time frame of when I started to accept things. It just happened along the way.
But one thing for sure,
I
didn't force myself to accept the results immediately when it was announced.
I didn't force myself to accept the result immediately when it was announced. Okay, my third point was
the third point is slower.
I told myself
that
things will work out in the end.